Hi everybody, Eddie here. I'm going to do a market update for next week. So we came up and we tested that 4200 and got rejected on Friday and on Thursday. So that's area that we were going to look at to see if we could get extended, and it did. So that's a really good sign actually. We were a little bit far away from the 8-day moving average when we hit that on Thursday. So I was saying that it's likely that we're going to reverse back just because we were extended. So we did get that on Friday. We rally up and then we get that big push back down during the day. So that was actually a really good trade if you know your levels. So like I posted in pre-market review that we were going to hit either 4180 or 40 a retest of 4200, and if it really picks up momentum, then we could actually gap fill that. So we didn't actually gap fill. So now the market is overbought. We are at the 100% Fibonacci extension. So if you want to measure the previous move, so we actually hit that round target before the reversal. So that was pretty expected. Expected. So actually, it was this level that I was talking about. So he hit that 100% level, and then it went on pass. So we were over here. I was looking for to actually make that big push and retest this before pullback. I mean that can still happen next week. Next week, if we come back, if we can test this 4080 area and hold, we can probably still go forward. And our next leg up would be to go up and test this 4300 area, right? If we do pull back a little too much, we could come as far back as 4,000. So it really needs to hold around this 4,000 area. Actually needs to, in order to stay, make this into a higher low and a higher high, it needs to stay above this zone right here in the purple. So that's 39.50. So if you can stay above 39.50, it's still very bullish. We are heading into weaker seasonality, so February is usually a fairly weak or choppy month. So leading into March, so I am looking for actually one more big push and then a big pullback. That's what I'm looking for. And on the pullback, I needed to stay above the 200-day moving average. If it pulls back and we finish March above the 200-day moving average, it's safe to say this is the bottom, and we are going to go higher and finish the year higher. Because come April, the bulls will start showing up, and we'll be on our way back up to the highs. If that's the case, if you can hold that 200-day moving average for the next month and a half. All right. So if you go into the smaller time frame, let's just go into like the 4 hour time, 1 hour time frame. So you can see that we're fairly overbought. So it is looking like it wants to roll over and then come back and test this area right here, which is the 50-day moving average, 50 period moving average, sorry. So it's around 40.80. So if he actually comes back down to 40.80 and bounces off this area, we are going to go higher. And the next leg up should be to fill that gap and possible testing that 4,300 area, right? Let's take a look at the Qs. Same story. Qs went up and got pushed back down. There is a gap that needs to be filled. It is extended away from the 8, so it's in extreme overbought territory. So it does need to come back, and likely it will come back and retest this 295 area right here. So that's a good support zone. That's the breakout zone. So if it does pull back and it finds support around this area, it's likely to get a pretty hard quick bounce back up. And that would be your buying opportunities to the pullback into this area right here to see if it holds. And let's take a look at the Dow. So the Dow, it's just been chopping around. It's holding pretty good. It's creating somewhat of like a handle right here, like almost like a V-shaped cup and handle type of pattern. You want to see it either break above here, or if it fails, it'll fail right here, and then it'll start rolling all the way back down to the bottom again. So this area right here is super important, 325. That's where this bottom is. If it breaks that bottom, it becomes like a higher low, lower low, and then it's going to end up all the way back down to here. So you want to just keep an eye out on that. If it actually just consolidates for a while, there's a likely chance that it will pop and then break out, and then we're going to test like this area right here and then go back to the highs. So Dow's is by far the strongest index at the moment. Is the closest to the highs compared to the SP 500, which is still very far away from the highs, and the Qs is the furthest away from the highs, right? So let's take a look at the mid caps. The mid caps actually perform pretty well as also. It's almost at the all-time highs again. So another pullback, and then the next bounce, we should be able to come up to around that high right there. So the mid caps actually performing the best. So maybe that's the index you want to take a look at to see what stocks are moving, and that will be a good stock to really swing trade if it actually pulls back and holds this area. Let's take a look at small caps. Small caps, deep breakout. So there's a nice bottom right here, double bottom, create like a little inverse kind of head and shoulder type of thing over here, and then it's forming somewhat of like it's a little bit choppy, but it's somewhat of like a rounding bottom. And now we're heading towards the top of this cup right here and possibly create a handle and then maybe break out to around this 225 and possibly the highs. In the VIX actually staying below 20, so that's a really good sign. That means there's not a lot of panic just yet. So we are in extreme greed mode right now. So usually when the market goes into extreme greed mode, is a lot of retailers rushing into the market, FOMO buying, and everything pushes the market extremely high. And you can probably tell that by all the meme stocks, all the high growth names that were hot in 2020. Well, this week they popped substantially, right? So a lot of retail money are going back into markets at the moment. And usually that's a good sign for looking for reversals, because once the retail money start pouring in, institutions tend to sell into strength, and then it pushes the market back down, buy it back. And when the retailers starting to panic sell, and that's where all the institutions start buying back again. So right now there's a lot of dumb money in the market. So be very careful on going long. I'm looking for reversals right now, like for short term, for a pullback, and then do maybe a small swing trade, and then see if he holds that support. If he does, then we'll continue higher and we'll switch back to the bullseye, right? So I usually just trade price action. So whichever direction it moves, it really does not matter. As long as it moves with momentum, I am willing to play it. So okay, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple had they had bad earnings, and they pop, surprisingly pop, right? A lot of money flow into Apple on earnings day. So you can see right here, Apple was in this downtrend. We finally broken out of it, right? Next week maybe we'll pull back and retest and then go higher. If it does, it is gonna go higher. Like we're still very close to the highs, right? We're very close to the highs. It really did not break down that much even during this this correction. So Apple is one of the strongest names in the out of the FANG names and in the index. So keep a close eye on Apple, how it performs. If Apple's performing well, it is likely the S&P 500 will follow as well. AMD had pretty good earnings. We popped above the 200-day moving average now. I like to see a pullback to retest. If it retests and holds, it's time to go higher, right? So we've had to come back, retest and hold. It's likely it's going to go try 105, and then maybe 125, right? If it does not hold, if it gets rejected around up here, if this was a trap, right, it's likely we can pull back to 70, 60, 50, right? So just pay attention to that. That 200-day moving average is really your key area to look at. If it doesn't hold this area, then the bears are back in control. So just look around when it pulls back, look around, see if it holds this area. If it does, just go long. If it doesn't, wait till it creates a lower low and then you can go short, or just buy at a cheaper price if you want to stay long. Amazon is good, moving okay. They have bad earnings, so it was a big gap up the day before and a big gap down the day after earnings, right? So it's buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing, right? So if it does come back, if it comes back around 85, I'm going to buy some shares. I actually tried to grab some shares on Friday, and I think I got assigned the shares. I saw a spread, knowingly that that it's possible it reverse back down. So I opened a spread and then but I took the long leg off too soon in the morning, and then I profit of the long leg, and then by closing time it it started flush down. So I got assigned the shares. I will most likely just turn that into a wheel strategy, a little bit more aggressive wheel. So I'm gonna sell some whatever price I got assigned at. I'm gonna sell some calls a couple months out, and then I'm gonna sell some puts down here. Try to get some cheaper shares. This is more for a longer term position anyway, so I'm perfectly happy owning the shares down at this area right here. So Meta went up like crazy on earnings, right? And they stay up there. There's a big huge gap right there. If it doesn't enter the gap, if it does not enter the gap and just kind of float around, if it's gonna float around, it's going to create like another leg up. It's gonna be like gap and then go. Right. So this is it hit like right at that 200 resistance area, and it's got rejected twice now. So if it doesn't hold up, if it breaks that low right there, it's likely it's going to gap fill, go back down and retest this 200-day moving average right here around 160, 150. If you come back to around that area, if you like the stock and you weren't in it and you want to get in it, that would be the price to get in. It will be right around there. Worst case scenario, it comes down and then come all the way back down to $100. But right here, you really want to see it hold above that 160 would be the best, but you want to see it hold at least 150, right? If you can hold 150, it'll go higher. If it doesn't hold 150, it's going to either base a little bit longer, chop around before going higher. But they're selling, their stock is trading at like a pretty good discount to their intrinsic value. So there it is a bit of a value play here. But their revenues are declining, and they really need to see that growth again before this thing can go back higher. So they might be just chopping around this zone for a little bit. Google, we gap up. We almost filled the gap on the way down, and then got pushed back up again. I actually traded the earnings. I saw a spread, and I made money on both sides, and then I end up closing the position. My short put was profitable. My long put was profitable as well. And those are one of the things that you can do with if you know how to address spreads. So down here, if it comes down, I'm waiting for it to come down a little bit lower. If it does come down a little bit lower, like around that 100 area, I really want to start grabbing some shares for longer term around 100. If I'm patient enough, I can probably get it down somewhere around that 90 zone. So I might actually just sell a put down around there, see if I can grab a shares. If we get like a week of February, then it's likely that we'll come back to around that 95, 90 area anyways. So maybe be a little patient and see if we can grab some shares. Microsoft, I'm actually starting to really like Microsoft. Their charts looks okay. Their chart, it's the bottom broke out to 200. As long as it holds above like 250, it's fine. One of the things I like about Microsoft, it's it actually owns 49% of Chat GPT. So if you haven't used Chat GPT before, it's an incredible software. It's really good software. I can actually use it to write code for trading view indicators using Chat GPT, and it'll do it for me. It's really cool. And you can also write articles and stuff like that as well. So I can see this thing like later on be be a really good use for like a search engine, like stuff that you want, um like short detail articles on exactly what you're looking for, versus where Google, you just get a bunch of websites come up with ads, right? So we'll see what happens later on, but I think that investment that Microsoft did on ChatGPT is a really good one. And if this thing takes off, I mean, I can see Microsoft like go way up beyond here, just by only 49% of that stock, that company. So anyways, chart wise, I am looking for it to come up, create that bottom, and then come all the way back up here, create a handle, and then break out for the longer term. So this is the scenario I'm looking at. I needed to stay above this neckline right here where you're broken out of. So as long as you stay above 250, this scenario can likely to play out. There's a bunch of gaps up here. There's a gap over here. There's a gap over here that still haven't filled. And then likely around here is where it's going to get rejected if it picks up momentum. So around that 295, 300 area will be your target. It's a good stock to own for longer term as well. So you can actually sell puts, you sell put spreads, you could buy leap on this thing. It is at discount right now, so you can probably do on the next pullback if you want to buy a leap. If you want to sell some puts and Grafton shares, around that 250 is a good area to sell it at as well. Netflix. So Netflix, we feel the gap and we continue to go. We're about that resistance area now, around 400. It's likely we get rejected up here and chop around. It is the trend is actually fairly strong at the moment, so it can actually hold the trend if it just keeps on going. A little bit above the trend, so you can see it was like in a little channel here and then broken out, retest, and then continue, right? So you can just keep going up like this and then come up and maybe fill this gap up here at 500, right? If they continue to grow the subscribers, it's likely that they can do that. It's not a stock that I really like to hold long term. It's Netflix is more of a trading stock to me. So if you really want to trade it, you can trade it. I usually just sell spreads on this thing. Uh, but if you want to own the stock, you can definitely day trade this, scalp this, swing trade this, all you want. Nvidia, super strong move up here. It's at resistance. This is a heavy resistance zone. So it's likely it's going to pull back. I am looking for it to pull back to around that 200 area. See if it holds. If it holds 200, it can go a big parabolic move. Break out here and go for a big parabolic move all the way up to like 270, 280, 290. That can happen. Or if we pull back, if we can pull back to about 180, would be great. Pull back around 180, that will be a good area to go back and buy some. As long as it creates a higher low, and then it's likely we'll make a higher high, which is will come up to around that, back up to around that 240, 250 area. Tesla, you want to be a little bit careful. Tesla's at resistance, 200-day moving average. This was the previous neckline. Heavy supply up here. It was a big support, broken through it. Now it's a big resistance. So it needs a lot of momentum in order to break above it, especially when there's a 200-day moving average just slightly above that. So if it comes up here, it's likely it's going to get rejected. You can see there's the wicks right here. You got rejected twice already. But yeah, Tesla is one of those stocks that can pick up a lot of momentum really fast, and it can get squeezed really fast too. So this is one of the stocks that you just kind of go with the flow. So if it gets rejected right here, play the rejection. If it pulls back to around like this 170, 175 and holds, it could create somewhat of like inverse head and shoulders, and then we get that big breakout, right? That can happen as well. So pay very close attention to Tesla. It can do this, right? Or it can do this, right? So Tesla is one of those stocks that it can go either way. So it's really news driven, and then like Elon sometimes tweaks something, and this stock goes crazy, right? So I would just trade a chart and see where the chart will take you. Just follow the 1 hour chart. It's pretty simple. If you follow the 1 hour chart, you would have done pretty well right here. And like it's at resistance, right? It's overextended, so a pullback would be good. A pullback and then a retest and then go higher, right? That's what you really want. If this is going to go much higher, it's going to have to pull back a little bit and then create a higher low and then make a higher high. Because right now it's not that. It's literally just uh went down, make a low, and then went straight back up to right here. It's not even a lower high or uh so it's not lower high. It's like literally right there. So it can actually just pull back, make a higher low, and then break out. Right. So that's pretty much it for this week. I'm not going to do the hour this week. Right now it's about midnight, a little bit past midnight. So I'm just going to stop the video right here. And I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you like, subscribe to the videos, and see you guys later.